The rain was coming down hard that afternoon. You know the kind. The gray, heavy Ohio kind that just seems to soak right into your bones. This story, it's called The Last Load. And yeah, it starts at the bottom. But the real story is what you find down there. 47 years old, standing in my own driveway, watching my whole life get hitched to a tow truck. People look at you, they whisper, they think you're crazy for letting it get this bad. And maybe you are. So, yeah, this is where we begin. The end of the road. That Peterbilt. Man, that wasn't just a truck, that was my office, my provider. After 30 years behind that wheel, it was who I was. And then, it was just gone. All I could hear was the rain on the asphalt where she used to be. And for what? This is the number that did it. $8,700. 30 years of work, of hauling, of being a professional erased by a debt that felt like pocket change and a mountain all at the same time. And this is what I had left to show for it all. $42 in my checking account. I had a wife inside who hadn't really looked at me in months, and a son about to start a senior year. $42. The numbers just didn't work. So what do? I'll tell you what I did. I walked inside, cracked open a beer. It wasn't even 10 a.m. yet. And I just started scrolling on my phone trying to find anything at all to drown out the silence and the shame. And then, something shifted. Right here. While I was looking for a way to escape, I found something real. A neighbor's fence. It wasn't some grand plan. Just a broken-down fence outside my window. But it was the first thing that made sense all day. Talk about a reality check. I went from 1.8 wheels and a diesel engine that could pull a house down to this. A wheelbarrow and a hammer I found in the back of the garage, all covered in rust. It was a long, long way down. So the next morning, I walked over there. I didn't have anything to sell him, I said this. I said, Mr. Henderson, that fence is a hazard. If you get the wood, I'll put it up for a cup of coffee. He's 82 years old. He started crying right there on his porch. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. The price for getting off that couch was real. It was 3 solid days of work that my body wasn't used to anymore. My back was screaming. My hands were just covered in blisters. It was pure, simple, hard work. But the payoff? It wasn't in a paycheck. It was this moment. When that last nail went into that fence post, all the aching and the pain just kind of faded away. And it was replaced by this feeling, a feeling I hadn't had in, maybe a decade. I just felt useful. And that one little thing, that one fence, it started something. His daughter took a picture, put it on the town Facebook page, and my phone, which had been dead silent for weeks, it started to ring. And just like that, the wheelbarrow handyman was born. Corny, I know, but it was mine. And here's the thing I figured out pretty quick. Nobody in my town needed a long-haul trucker. But what they did need was a guy who showed up when he said he would. A guy who could fix the little things that drive you crazy. It wasn't about the big rig anymore. It was about being reliable. Of course, just when you start to get your feet back under you, the past has a way of showing up. It was a rainy Thursday. I was at the hardware store, wrestling these 8 zero-pound bags of concrete into a rental truck. I was soaked, exhausted, covered in dust, and that's when a ghost pulled up. A brand new, shiny black Escalade, the kind that doesn't have a speck of mud on it. The window rolls down, and there he is, my old dispatch manager, the guy who called me into his office and told me they were letting me go. He just looked me up and down, saw the rental truck, the bags of concrete, and he got this little smirk on his face. And he says, "Frank, tough break. Guess you really are down to the last load now, huh?" He was trying to break me. Right there in the rain. And for a second, he almost did. I just stood there, getting soaked, and I wanted to give up. I wanted to just drop everything in the mud and prove him right. I just wanted to stop, but I didn't. And that's when I finally understood what this was all about. That load of concrete wasn't for him. It wasn't about him. This load was for a single mom in the next town over. This load actually mattered. And so I did the job. I got in that truck and drove 45 minutes through that storm. I mixed that concrete right there in the downpour. And I patched that busted foundation step, the one her landlord wouldn't fix, the one her kid kept falling on. I saw it through. Just as I was finishing up, the rain stopped, and her little boy came running outside, and he put this little rock right in the corner of the wet cement. And he looked at me and said, "Mister, that's so nobody falls ever again." And right then, everything clicked. That's the difference, right there. My old boss, he saw a load of concrete, and he saw a failure. A joke. But the real load, the last load that mattered, was this. It was a little boy's safety. It wasn't about failure. It was about purpose. So where am I now? Look, I'm not some millionaire. I'm still paying off that old debt. But I learned that the real things of value, they were never on wheels. They're the things you can't repo. Like my wife smiling at me again. Or my son grabbing the wheelbarrow this morning to help me without me even asking. So if you're looking at your own empty driveway, or a computer screen full of rejection emails, and you think your story's over, it's not. Trust me, the real strength was never in the machine. It's been in your own two hands the whole time. And that leaves just one question, really. What's the broken fence in your world? What small thing right in front of you can you go fix? Not with what you wish you had, but with what you've got right now. Go find it.